This A flat is actually, to me, a passing chord back to B flat. You see, more like this. B flat 7. And I'm using the A flat as a, well, actually the A flat major 7 is actually passing chord to B flat. The only difference is the bass line, is the bass note. You see? So actually it's a passing chord to the F minor and to B flat. So it sounds like this. But it's your F minor, then your B flat 13. You hear that? Simple, isn't it? It isn't really hard at all. You hear that? That's not hard, is it? I played this half a step up because that concept. This is actually like the 2-5 that we talked about earlier. Hear that? Are you beginning to get that concept now? Why did I do that? Nothing but an F9 with a raised 9, right? To B flat, which is 2-5. Right? All right, we got that. So when you put it all together, oh, the possibilities. You got, oh, it's fun. Half steps. Hear that? While we go down whole step. Hey, check that out. You check it out? Oh, lots of fun. And don't make it hard. I mean, keep it simple and don't worry about what you're playing. Reach for the things that seem to be the thing that will make the moment shine. And that's what I look for. I'm not out to prove how much harmony we know. There's so many things you can do with that. If I played, my band loves to hear me do things like that. Nothing but a flat 9 chord. And as I heard in one of Joe Pass's tape, he said, don't use that flat 9 chord. And he's right. Hear how strange that color is? Listen. It's so, as opposed to when you're playing the B flat, it sounds like this. Not as a first chord, it doesn't work. See, as a passing chord, yes, but as the first chord, so you're right. So we stay with this concept. Ah, fun, huh? Try it sometime. You know, I had an incredible pleasure one time. They were celebrating the life of the great B.B. King, who was one of my friends for many years and one of my all-time favorite players on the guitar, the instrument, period. Consistently fantastic, and his approach to the guitar is one that is continuously positive. He never wavers at the way he approaches it. Always with great energy and always assuredness, like he knows exactly what he wants to do next. And he may say it's different than that, but he always comes across with that kind of positive energy. Well, one day they were honoring him at a TV show, and someone heard him say that his 2 favorite players were George Benson and Eric Clapton. And I was glad to be one of those guys that he mentioned. It did my heart good, and I just loved honoring him that day. So when we were there, I had a conversation just before we got there, I had met Eric Clapton in Germany. We were going through there on prospective gigs, and we met in the airport. It was the first time I had ever met him. I had admired his playing for many years, and his singing too. He's a good singer too. And he said something to me. He said that, you know, rock and roll music, you know, two-note things, you know, double notes or two-note intervals work much better than single line. He said that is the essence of the music. If it's not played with double notes, it doesn't sound good. It isn't rock and roll. And I started thinking about that. I said, wait a minute, how true is that statement? You know? And I said, where did he get that from, I wonder? And I started listening to all the old recordings I had heard. It's true. All the Chuck Berry's records was the first rock and roll records I ever heard way back in 1949. He was playing, two-note things, and they really work. And so I started experimenting, and I came up with this to play by myself. I was playing it by myself before I did it with the band. I started playing. Basically, the concept is that those two-note things really work in rock and roll music. And of course, if you add all the highs and the grit and the fuzz with that, you really got some good energy. And so he was right. Thank you, Eric Clapton, for turning me on. He's a bad dude, man. Oh, it's a lot of fun, I'll tell you. There are lots of ways of playing blues turnarounds. The concept that blues players use is a standard root and then the fourth. Yeah, pretty baby, you know that concept, you know. And then they go to the fourth one. Standard. And then they go to the fifth, and then they go back to the fourth. Yeah, pretty baby, in the morning time. Basically. But now, jazz players, they use a little different colors sometimes. They use those changes too, but a lot of times they'll use. See, these are colors they're adding to the progressions. Some of them use this chord change, which is A minor to D7. That's one. But some using their turnaround, they'll use a dominant 7 in the place of the A minor. They'll use an A dominant 7. I like that concept because it leads me into more progressions that I can play, more things that I can do in between. Say, for instance, You can hit it. Baby,